everyone, Andre here, and today we're diving into one of the most unexpected sequels of 2025, Kirby Air Riders for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I've been playing this for about 30 hours, and let me tell you, this game absolutely is wild in ways that both works and sometimes doesn't. So let's talk about whether this long-awaited sequel to the GameCube's cult classic is worth your time, or if I'm just on nostalgia fumes. Right off the bat, I need to be honest with you, Kirby Air Riders is not what you think. If you're coming here expecting Mario Kart with just Kirby characters, you're going to be pleasantly surprised or completely confused. This is less of a racing game and more of a chaotic party game that just happens to have racing in it. After spending countless hours with it, I can tell you that distinction really matters. So here's the deal, the entire game revolves around one button. Yeah, you heard me right. One button does everything. Your machine automatically accelerates, you steer with the stick, and that one magical B button handles your boost charging, braking, and hailing enemies using copy abilities, and somehow not exploding from doing too many things at once. When I first picked this up, muscle memory from years of playing traditional racing games had me reaching for buttons that weren't even there. It was like trying to write with your non-dominant hand. Technically possible, but feels fundamentally wrong. But here's where things got interesting for me. After about 2 hours of fumbling around like I've never played a video game before, something just clicked for me. The simplicity started to make sense. See, when you're not trying to worry about acceleration or complex button combinations, you start focusing on the actual flow of movement. You're watching for star trails left by other racers that give you speed boosts. You're timing your landings perfectly for that extra burst of speed. You're chaining enemy defeats together to maintain momentum. It's less about mechanical complexity and more about reading the chaos and finding your pathway through it. The racing itself feels fast, and I mean seriously fast. We're talking about that kind of speed where you're making split-second decisions constantly. Should I boost around the corner or try to maintain speed so I can hit that jump? Can I chain together enough enemy defeats to catch the leader? The game throws so much visual information at you, your brain kind of goes into this weird flow state where you're just reacting more than thinking. It's generally exhilarating when it works. Doesn't work because that happens a little more often than I like sometimes. The one button setup feels generally limiting. Trying to inhale enemies for a copy ability while also needing to brake for a corner, yeah, good luck with that. The game wants you to tap quickly for abilities and hold for braking, but in the heat of a race, that distinction becomes very muddy. I've lost how many times that I've accidentally slowed down to a crawl when I was just wanting to grab a fire ability. But now the machines, this is where the game really shines. There's over 20 different vehicles, and they're not just stat variations of each other. The Swerve Star literally can only turn while braking. The Formula Star has incredible top speed, but turns like a shopping cart with a broken wheel. The Wing Star, which became my personal favorite, excels in the air but feels sluggish on the ground. Each machine fundamentally changes how you approach tracks, and mastering them feels generally rewarding. Same goes for the character roster. We've got 20 playable characters, each with their own special abilities that feel like Final Smash from Smash Bros. King Dedede slams down with his hammer, Kirby goes wild with the sword, and my personal favorite, Meta Knight, goes incredible with speed boosts that can completely change the outcome of a race. These specials don't break the game like items in Mario Kart sometimes do. They're powerful but very balanced, giving you an edge without guaranteeing a victory. Let's dive into the actual modes. Starting with Air Ride, the traditional racing mode, there's 18 tracks total, 9 brand new and 9 returning from the original. And honestly, these are some of the best designed racing tracks that I've played in years. Mount Ember Falls has you racing down through this gorgeous autumn forest with branching paths that reward exploration. The water themed stages have sections where you're skimming across the surface, diving through the waterfalls, and fighting hitting shortcuts. Every track feels like a roller coaster that you're somehow in control of. The visual design deserves a special mention as well. This game is absolutely gorgeous in motion. Colors pop off the screen, particles effects fly everywhere, and the sense of speed conveys perfectly through the motion blur and environmental effects. Playing this on the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware means everything runs smoothly at 60 frames per second, even in a 4-player split screen. That's impressive considering how much chaos can be happening on the screen at any moment. Puzzle. City trial mode is where things get really good and really decisive. Picture this, 16 players dropped into an open map, and you got 5 minutes to collect power-ups, find better machines, beat up other players, and deal with random events before everyone is thrown into a random mini game. It's absolutely mayhem, and I mean that in the both best possible and worst ways. My first few hours with City Trial was a bit rough. I'm driving around trying to collect stat boosts, getting constantly kicked off my machine by other players, scrambling on foot to find another ride while everyone just zoomed past me. Random events kept happening, meteors falling from the sky, UFOs dropping items, and giant robots showing up to ruin everyone's day. It's complete pure chaos with no strategy and skill involved. But then something interesting happened. I started learning the map. I figured out where certain machines tend to spawn. I learned the best route to collect power-ups efficiently, and I discovered that volcano areas usually have great items but are risky to navigate. These floating islands that seem impossible to reach, there's actually a specific glide pattern that gets you there if your flight stat is high enough. Suddenly, what felt like a randomness started to feel like controlled chaos that I could actually influence. The problem is the mini games at the end. See, after those 5 minutes of preparations, the game splits everyone up based on what challenge that they chose. So you might spend 5 minutes building the perfect speed machine only to end up in a gliding competition that you have a 0 chance of winning. Or worse, you end up in a combat arena with only 3 other players while everyone else is in a different mission. It completely kills the competitive atmosphere when you're not competing against most of the lobby. Some of these medium games are legit fun though. The boss battles where everyone team up to take down the robot Dedede, freaking fantastic. The high speed gauntlet where you're weaving between lasers, pure adrenaline, but others like the drag racing that literally is just who has the highest stat speed, that felt pointless. Why even race when the outcome is predetermined by numbers? The top ride mode, it's a top-down racing mode with a bite-sized track that maybe lasts a minute each. And look, I appreciate what they brought back from the original and actually expanded it with machines from the main game, but after 30 hours I spent maybe 45 minutes in total in this mode. It's not bad, but it's just everything else is so much more interesting. It felt like a dish at a buffet that's fine, but you don't go back for seconds because everything else is just better. Then there's the road trip, that single player story mode that nobody expected that somehow works really well. You're traveling down this long road, and at each checkpoint you choose between 3 different challenges pulled from other modes, and you get a permanent stat upgrade for that run. It's basically City Trial progression system stretched across 2 or 3 hour campaign. What surprised me is how well this mode showcases everything the game has to offer. One moment you're in a traditional race, the next you're trying to knock out a specific enemy, and then you're trying to see who can fly the furthest. The variety keeps things fresh, and the persistent upgrade gives you that satisfying sense of progression as your janky machine slowly transforms into a speed demon. The story itself is actually surprisingly dark and sci-fi focused for a Kirby game. Without spoiling anything, it's got this gritty undertone that feels more like Smash Bros. Subspace than the typical clearly wanted to do something different here, and while that narrative isn't going to win any awards, it's engaging enough to keep you pushing forward. My biggest issue though was with Road Trip and how many challenges are frustrating short. I'm talking 5 to 10 second challenges where you just collect food or hit a target. You spend more time in the menus or traveling in between events actually playing them. It's like someone made a playlist of gaming's greatest hits but only included the first 15 seconds of each song. When the challenges are good, they're really good, but the pacing consistently interrupts any momentum buildup. The online functionality deserves massive credit though. This might be Nintendo's best online implementation ever, which I know isn't saying much, but seriously, it works great. You can easily invite friends, there's both casual and ranked maximate, and I haven't even experienced any significant lag with 16 players in City Trial. There's even this cool lobby area called the Padlock where 32 players can hang out between matches, show off their custom machines, and emote at each other. It's basically Nintendo's version of the Destiny Tower, and it actually works really good. And speaking of customization, this game goes absolutely nuts with options. You're not just changing colors or dials, you can actually modify materials, add particle effects, change sound effects, add little charms and accessories. I spent maybe 2 hours making my perfect Meta Knight themed Warp Star with metallic purple finish, star trail effects, and custom booth sounds. Then I put it in the garage alongside my other creations because yes, there's a garage mode where you can display your collection like Forza and Horizon. The system is brilliant too. There are 750 challenges spread across different modes, each rewarding you with new characters, machines, track, music, or customization options. You're constantly unlocking stuff by playing naturally. Finishing a race without using copy abilities? Here's a new hat. Defeating 50 enemies in City Trial? A new machine unlocked. It's that classic Sakurai design where you're always working towards something, even when you're just messing around. But here's the thing about Kirby Air Riders. It's a game that knows exactly what it wants to be, for better or for worse. This isn't trying to compete with Mario Kart or Forza or Gran Turismo. original, it's a party game that happens to have racing elements, designed for quick bursts of chaotic fun with your friends. When you accept that, it's incredibly entertaining. When you don't, it feels a little shallow and frustrating. The skill ceiling does exist, but it's weird. You can definitely get better at the game, learning boost brake timing, perfecting your lines through courses, and mastering each machine's quirk. There's depth here, but it never feels as satisfying as nailing a perfect drift in Mario Kart or executing a complex combo in a fighting game. The one-button control scheme ultimately limits how impressive you can be with the gameplay. I kept coming back to this feeling like Kirby's Air Riders is simultaneously too simple and too complex. It's too simple in the controls and some of the game modes, too complex in its visual noise and some of the system interaction. It's a game that wants to be accessible to everyone, but ends up being perfect for a very specific audience, people who want a laid-back party game with just enough depth to keep things interesting. Performance-wise, this game is solid as a rock. 60 frames per second across all modes, even in split screen. Loading times are quick, menus are responsive, and I haven't encountered any significant bugs or crashes. The soundtrack absolutely slaps. With remakes of Kirby's classic tunes mixed with original compositions that perfectly match the high energy gameplay. The city trial theme is going to be stuck in my head for some months now. So here's my bottom line on Kirby's Air Riders. This is going to be a 7 out of 10 game that certain people are going to treat like it's a 10 out of 10. If you grew up with the original, have friends to play with on local or online, or can vibe with a unique approach to racing, you're going to have a blast here. The amount of content, customization, the pure personality packed into a game is impressive. But if you're looking for a competitive racing game, a deep single player experience, or something that you can just grind solo for a couple hundred hours, this might not be it for you. The randomness is trial, the simplicity of the controls, and the short burst nature of many game modes best in specific contexts rather than your main. What I respect most about Kirby's Air Riders is that it's unapologetically itself. In an era where every game needs to be a service, needs a season pass or a battle pass or consistent updates, and his team made a complete game that does what it wants to do. There's no DLC plan, there's no roadmap, there's no promises of future content. What you see is what you get, and what you get is a lot, just maybe not what you expected. But for me personally, after 30 hours, I'm glad I played it. I had a genuine fun time with racing, and I enjoyed the chaos of city trial with friends online, and I appreciated the insane attention to detail in every aspect of presentation. But I'm also ready to move on to something else. This isn't going to be a game that I'm going to play for long term, but that's okay. Not every game needs to be. Would I recommend Kirby's Air Riders? If you got Nintendo Switch Online, people to play with, and $60 to spend on a party game that's anything else out there? Absolutely. If you're flying solo and you're looking for your next racing obsession, maybe wait for a sale or try it before you buy it. The game landscape is better for having weird experimental games like this in it. Kirby Air Riders might not be perfect, but it's memorable, it's unique, and it's clearly made with passion. In a world of safe sequels and formulaic franchises, sometimes that's exactly what we need. Anyway, that's gonna wrap up my review of Kirby Air Riders. Let me know in the comments what you think about this game, if you tried it, or if this review helped you decide whether to pick it up. If you enjoyed this review, hit that subscribe button, it really helps the channel grow, and catch me streaming more gameplay over on Twitch at Andre the Alpha. Link is in the description, where we're diving deep into all new releases, having a good time with the community. But until next time, this is Andre signing off. Remember to keep it real, keep it honest, keep gaming, and stay alpha.